I want to speak in my limited remarks to support the arguments made by my honourable friend, the member for Ealing North, and to speak in support of Labour's new clause 23, to which I have also added my name, seeking an equality impact assessment of the measures in the bill that affect family incomes. This includes the impact of specified sections of the bill on households at different levels of income, on people with protected characteristics, and across the regions and nations of the UK. Around 700,000 people have lost their jobs since February last year. Many more families have seen a drop in their household income. Over 39,000 are now on universal credit in Hounslow alone, and we have seen a huge rise in the use of food banks. There is no doubt about the importance of financial inclusion at this time. The Financial Inclusion Commission, on which I also sit, has highlighted how there are now millions more people facing economic hardship as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. But, Madam Chair, the UK entered the crisis with half its population financially vulnerable, 12 million categorised as financially struggling or generally on low incomes, and 13 million as financially squeezed. COVID has laid bare existing weaknesses, vulnerabilities and structural inequalities. And step change research shows that 10% of people say they will certainly or probably be unable to pay for essentials in the next 12 months. We know child poverty, already extremely high, is rising. So it's inexplicable that when the government itself has said in the budget report that the economic impact of restrictions has not been felt equally, that it hasn't itself published an impact assessment. It shouldn't be for the opposition to table this vital amendment. It seems that instead of taking action to boost our community recoveries, the Conservatives are choosing to reward families up and down the country for their sacrifices, with council tax hikes, with a freeze to the personal allowance from next April, a whole year before corporation tax rises kick in, with a real terms pay cut for key workers, and cuts to universal credit later this year, a move now even opposed by 100 Tory MPs. Even when the Chancellor has done the right thing, like extending furlough as Labour called for, these moves need to be underpinned by a strong social security system that provides support when people need it. People need to be protected from financial exclusion, and families need a clear route out of financial difficulty when they are struggling. The Chancellor could also look at how Sadiq Khan is working to promote financial inclusion through partnership with the financial sector, social enterprises and credit unions, and plans for a new team dedicated to economic fairness. Economic fairness, Madam Chair. But instead, what we know is coming is this £20 cut a week to universal credit for millions of families within 6 months, just when the OBR predicts that unemployment will peak. A cut that takes out-of-work support to its lowest level since the 1990s. That's why Labour has also called for urgent social security measures, including converting universal credit advances to grants instead of loans, ending the 5-week wait, suspending the benefits cap, and uprating legacy benefits to match the increase in universal credit. Madam Chair, around 2.2 million people on legacy benefits have been deprived of the uplift. And given that 3/4 of those claimants are disabled and on employment support allowance, this has created a two-tiered social security system, which has left many struggling to cope. Evidence from the Disability Benefits Consortium found that 67% of disabled claimants have had to go without some essential items at points during the pandemic. And minority ethnic communities have been hardest hit by both the health and economic crisis. The Resolution Foundation found that at the end of last year, unemployment amongst young black graduates had risen to 34%, up from 22% before the pandemic, and almost 3 times that of young white graduates during the same period. Step change research also shows that those from an ethnic minority are twice as likely compared to the GB average to say that they've experienced hardship, borrowed to make ends meet, or have run down savings. So in conclusion, Madam Chair, the Chancellor is hitting families up and down the country with a quadruple hammer blow of council tax rises, cuts to universal credit, real pay cuts for key workers, and freezing of the personal allowance. If the Chancellor wants to work for a fairer Britain and build a more inclusive, financially inclusive economy, He needs to know who his policies are helping and who they are not. That's why we need an impact assessment as called for in new clause 23, and the government should support it today. Thank you.